Welcome back to the Course Creation Incubator. I'm Gina Onativia, online course coach and digital strategist, here to help you navigate the different parts of your offer when it comes to your online course. I want to have a discussion with you today about bonuses, because these are one of my favorite aspects of putting together your offer, especially an enticing offer, which is exactly what you and I are going to put together, an enticing offer. And let's be honest, who doesn't like a good bonus? I love going to Origins and they tell me if I spend $75, I get a bonus bag of lipsticks or moisturizers or some kind of soothing eye balms. I love those little extras and I feel like I get a ton of added value with my purchase. That's what a great bonus does. It helps to augment the value of your online course. Bonuses also take on objections or reasons why your students may or may not buy your course. And if your bonuses are good enough, folks will buy just for them. Yes, you heard that right. Some of your potential students will put down their credit cards just for your bonuses. Someone will say, well, I just needed to have this fast action bonus, so I went for it. Or I needed these templates or these swipe files, or I needed this specific flight plan, and then they bought. Don't underestimate the power of your bonuses. By the way, this episode is truly inspired by one of my mentors over the years, Pam Hendrickson. She worked for Tony Robbins for 20 plus years, still actually supports Tony, and taught me so much about courses and a lot about bonuses and how to use them to truly position yourself effectively. And while we're talking about bonuses, we're really talking about three categories. The first is what I call your core bonus. This is part of your overall package. It's there the whole time that you're marketing your course. It's on your sales page, and it augments your overall package or offer for your course. Then the second category is fast action or your launch bonuses. These are only for a limited time, and they're super sexy, super enticing. If you use one of these fast action or launch bonuses, you're potentially only going to offer it to a segment of your audience that buys. This could be a custom kind of bonus that maybe you're going to offer them an audit or even a one-to-one session if you're just starting out and you have smaller numbers, or maybe you're just taking a smaller group. Or maybe it's a special workshop or kick-ass templates. Again, these go away. They're limited time only. They're tied to your launch, so it could be an opening cart bonus, mid-cart, or a closing cart bonus. Or if you're doing a webinar or a masterclass, it's a special bonus that only lasts for a limited time for that training. And then finally, your third category, surprise bonuses. Now, these are ones you have not marketed. They're not on your sales page. You want to surprise your student with some amazing content they didn't expect. Now, why would you do that? Because you want to underpromise and overdeliver, always. You want to make sure that your students are engaged. You want to make sure that they take the next step with you because you're always thinking about what's down the road. We're always thinking about what's the customer path, what's the next step in their journey with you. Let's not disappoint them and let the journey end with that first class. Make sure there's courses or one-to-ones or mastermind or something waiting at the end of that course. I want you always thinking about the road ahead. And now that you know these three categories, let's do a mini workshop about where these bonuses can come from. I'm going to talk about 5 places for you to get inspiration from to brainstorm your bonuses. Number 1, and this is low-hanging fruit, guys. Do you have a course that's too big and you can lop off a piece of it to make it a bonus? I talk all the time about you don't have to have a signature course right out of the gate. You could have a smaller course, a focus course. If you're looking at your course and you've got 6 modules, can you just cut off one of the modules and make it a bonus? And then you've got 5 modules and you've got a 5-step course. So think about that. Can you pare down what you currently have? Now, I've done this with courses a lot where we break it up. That's number 1. If your course feels too big or too unwieldy and there is a module or maybe 2 that feels like it's not necessary for the transformation, then think about framing it as a bonus. Another way to think about this is to go through your pitch. Now, if you're listening to me right now, I hope you've got some kind of system for selling. I've talked about this in the workshop episode. You're speaking on stage, you're doing a masterclass or a webinar or a video sales letter. You need a selling system. Now, if you're talking about the product and you feel like you get to this certain module and you're like, why is this here? Then you know it doesn't fit. And more than likely, you could frame it as a bonus. All right, so that's number one. Is your course too big, and what can you take out and sell as a bonus? Number two, are you trying to wedge a piece of content in there in your core course and it just doesn't fit? Maybe it doesn't fit your posted exercise process and it was just kind of hanging out, but you want to include it. That can become an amazing bonus. I've talked about Shannon before. She's an incredible college admissions counselor and consultant. And we're in the process of building a course for kids to take the stress out of college admission process. I've talked about working with Shannon before, who is an amazing college admission counselor and consultant. And we're helping her build out her course for high school students to take the stress out of the college admissions process. Now, there are quite a few pieces that don't quite fit into the overall model and flow of what we're building. One of them is financial aid. We know we need to talk about financial aid. It's an integral part of the college admissions process for a lot of students, but it doesn't really fit into the flow. So we made it a bonus. And she's going to do a great interview with an outside expert on that. And I think that's going to be a really, really solid bonus. So think about that for your own course and what doesn't fit, but you know you need to include it because your students will want to learn more about it. Number three is more of an outlier in terms of format or delivery that you feel like you should position as a bonus. So say you have a course that has 5-minute videos, handouts, direct-to-camera videos, and it's very consistent. And you've been engaging your students this way for maybe 2 or 3 modules. Then you want to do some demos. Like maybe you want to do a yoga demo, or you've got different health and wellness or cooking demos. This might be positioned as a bonus because it's different from the rest of the delivery of the course. You did it one time in a different format, but it doesn't quite fit. An example of this is when I worked with American Council on Exercise on an incredible personal trainer certification. It was an amazing course, so many different pieces, so well done. And we would go back and forth between having a trainer talk direct to camera, and then we'd cut to exercises inside of their gym. Now, toward the back of the course, we also included interviews with the ACE Answers team, which is a team that personal trainer candidates would ask questions of when they're working on their practice tests and really working to pass their certification. Because at the end of the day, you had to take a PT test to become a certified personal trainer. So we sat down with the 5 folks that were on the Answers team and talked about strategies to pass their test. And ACE ended up pretty much making it part of their core curriculum, but they could have framed it as a bonus. Because what's happening is these PT students are getting insight into the test, the ins and outs, study tips, hacks, completely invaluable. They could have totally framed this as a bonus because it's not an expectation that you think when you're going to get a certification class. They went above and beyond with these interviews and could frame it as such. So think about that. If you have a different format or deliverable and you went above and beyond, frame it as a bonus. And by the way, here's a sidebar. Just because it might not be framed as a bonus inside of your course doesn't mean you can't frame it as a bonus on your sales page. For example, say inside of Module 2, Lesson 3, you have an incredible template that's part of the core course. You can call that out as a bonus. Maybe you say it's a Module 2 bonus, whatever it is, or a standalone bonus, but call it out. That's called marketing. When you frame something that you know people really want and call it out separately on your sales page and in your marketing materials, don't be afraid to do that. Here's another brainstorm question. This is number 4. You wanted to have people, your students, take a deeper dive with you and introduce them to the next step. What can you offer them that will lead them down that path? Remember what I said earlier that you want to think about your customer path and where you want to lead your student? The other day I was talking to a couple who work with Christian moms. They decided that they want to work even more with Christian moms to ultimately work with families. They know the gateway of working with families is to first and foremost get through the mom. So I said, well, you're going to give them a bonus that then brings in the dad/husband or another support person and brings this full circle. Because the next step, I knew they wanted to work with families. So they're going to have some kind of piece inside of their current course that communicates with the father, communicates with the husband or the spouse. That's a great way to introduce a next step with your people, by the way. Whether you want to bring them one-on-one or coaching or something more intimate, the bonus is an exercise that leads them that way or shows them the benefit of, say, doing a one-on-one with you. Maybe it's listening in on a coaching call or a case study. I love case studies as bonuses, by the way. This came up in the 6-week accelerator last week. I can talk about bonuses for hours and ideas, and send me some of your bonuses. Send me some of your bonuses that you've done. And I'd love to do another podcast episode where we just have a bonus brainstorm and we inspire each other. So think about that as the next step with your brainstorming question number 4. Where do you want them to go? What do you need to embed inside of your course to lead them to the next step of the journey with you? Now, the 5th and final approach to brainstorming your bonuses is to take on objections, which is one of the biggest reasons to have bonuses in the first place. What are people going to say when they buy your course or want to buy your course but have doubts? How are you going to fulfill on that? So I mentioned Pam Hendrickson at the beginning of this episode. Pam had a signature course called Make It, Market, Launch It. And it was a huge, amazing course about how to build a product-based business. Like everything that you needed to know, Pam had it packed inside of this course. Now, as you can imagine, the course had a lot to go through. There was 7 modules. And some people said, well, I just don't have time to go through all this information. Do you have a shortcut? Now, listen, I want you to have a system and I want you to lead them to results. So I go back and forth about shortcuts, but in this case, it was a robust signature course. What Pam ended up doing was to create a fast track to results guide. And you could skim through all 7 elements of that guide that correspond to the course and you can implement quickly. Now, I love this idea because it tackled the objection for people who said, whoa. I don't want to take on 7 modules and go through this bigger course right now. I just want to implement a few specific things for my business. With this fast track guide, you could do just that. So think about what are the top 2 to 3 objections you need to address and how bonuses can help you do that. As we wrap up, I want you thinking about your friends, your colleagues, people who know you, your sounding board, right? Your people who know your students and your audience and your course. Get with them and figure out what can you do for your bonuses? What can you create? Sometimes, especially if you do a fast action bonus for a launch, getting with friends or colleagues or peers to brainstorm is an awesome way to come up with these kind of ideas. I wish you happy bonus brainstorming, and if this information has been helpful, it would be amazing if you would like, subscribe, rate, and review the Course Creation Incubator. Until then, go create, be you and be brilliant, and get it done.